Hey, good evening, everybody. This is the first night that we're going to do um, our daily devotion that I'm going to share with you. Um, I am, as you can see, I'm in my truck. I just got home from work. I feel like this is the quietest place to do this for the first night, so that I feel like it'd be the best place for me to be able to concentrate. As I promised you in last night's video, that I'll keep these short. I'll make sure that they don't take up a lot of time, and I'll try to stay on topic and get the devotion done and share it with you. So no matter where you're at, maybe you can take part and get something out of it, as I am as well. Anyways, as I said yesterday, my name is Richard. I attend Emmanuel Baptist Church in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and I've been going there for about 10 years now. Probably maybe going into my 11th year now. Uh, Before I started going to church, life was not good. Um, can't say that life has been perfect since I've been going to church. I don't want anyone to think that just because you start going to church and you accept Christ that, hey, suddenly life is going to be perfect. That's just not the way it is. We have, I've had many trials through these times, whether it be personal or attacks on my family or just attacks in life in general. But anyways, I can honestly say that my life is better with the track that I'm going in right now. Ever since that I have tried to put Christ first, life is much better. And so I hope that you just get something out of these devotions that we share with you each day. But anyways, the one I'm going to share with you today comes from Pastor Greg Laurie. He is someone that I follow closely, and I know someone who's very close to me. He also follows him very closely as well. He's a lead pastor with Harvest Church in Orange County, California. And this devotion is titled The Big Question. And this is actually from today. This is not one that I found. This is today's devotion. So anyways, the big question. So when we think about the big question, most of us think about the proposal, the time that you asked someone to marry you, or that you were asked to marry someone else. And that's kind of what this proposal goes along with. The verse that goes along with this devotion comes from Romans chapter 10, verse 14. And it goes like this. It says, "But how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? And how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them?" As I read this devotion, keep in mind that he's going to mention the name Kathy. Kathy is his wife. So let's get started. He says, "My wife Kathy tells me that I never properly proposed to her. She says we were sitting in a restaurant one day when I looked at her and said, 'Well, I guess we're going to get married, huh?' I didn't do a very good job of proposing, but I've heard a lot about imaginative proposals. For instance, a friend of mine went snorkeling with his girlfriend, and while they were in the water, he wrote the words, 'Will you marry me?' on an underwater tablet. Sadly, that is nothing that I would have ever thought of. My proposal was very basic and simple and straight to the point. Sorry, honey, if you were expecting anything more extravagant than that. But anyways, he says that was very imaginative. Some questions are awkward for us to ask, but we do it anyway. One such question is this: would you like to accept Jesus Christ right now? A while ago, I was in a restaurant with some friends. When the waitress walked up to take our order, she said, 'You guys are all pastors, aren't you?' Then she wanted to know when our church services were, and we gave her the service times. I felt prompted by the Spirit to ask her a question. I asked her, would she like to accept Christ in her life right now? She said, yes, I would. I knew she wouldn't get in trouble with her boss because the owner of the restaurant is a Christian who attends our church. So we prayed together right there, and she asked Christ into her life. You never know when the Lord will prompt you to ask that important question. And if someone says yes, get ready for one of the greatest blessings that you've ever experienced in life. Jesus said there's joy in heaven over one sinner that comes to repentance. There's great joy in sharing your faith. So I guess this devotion could be more toward those of us who are already Christians. One of the hardest things for us to do is to share our faith and to ask that one big question. But it ends up being one of the most important proposals that a person can ever make to another person. Nothing on this life is permanent. Nothing goes with us when we leave from this world on to the next world. The only thing that goes on is where we're going to spend our eternity. So when we look back at this verse, it says, again, I'm going to read it again, Romans chapter 10, verse 14. But how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? How can they believe in him unless they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? There's one question in this verse, or that's associated with this verse, and it comes in the middle part. How can they believe in him if they never heard about him? So it takes action by two people. The first person, it takes someone with the courage to stand up, tell them what Christ has done in their life, and have the courage to ask them, would you like to have what I have? Then by hearing that, they hear the question, that major proposal that they've been that you've been waiting to get out, that you've been building up to, and then it requires action by that other person, whether they want to accept it or not. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but that seed has always been planted. And my prayer is that all of us that are Christians will step out in faith, that we will have the courage to present these questions to those that we love, to those that we care about, and that we will put away the embarrassment or the fear that we may have in bringing these questions up to our loved ones. Sometimes it's very hard, and but the fact of the matter is if we really love our friends, if we really love our family, then we should want to spend eternity with them one day. And I pray that each of us believes that there is something more than just this life. If you don't, come and sit with me one day. I'll tell you stories that are only divine intervention could have taken place for them to happen. So anyways, I told you I wouldn't keep you. I'm almost at 10 minutes. I told you I would try to keep this around 10 to 15 minutes. But anyways, I encourage all of you, step out in faith, step out of your fear, step out of your comfort zones, and share what God has did for you in your life. Don't just invite somebody to church. That's a great thing, but go further. Tell them just what he has done for you. And then just maybe that person you're talking to could be going through the same thing that you've went through, and that they might look at you and say, you know what, I want what that person has. And then you can tell them how they can have what you have. So anyways, I hope all you have a great day. I hope you've had a great day. It's almost 8:30, 9 o'clock at night here. But I just want to tell you guys I love you, and that I will see you again tomorrow, and we'll post another one tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see how well this takes off. So have a good night, guys. Love you. God bless you all.